Hello everyone, my name is Andres, and in celebration of this year's release of Avengers Infinity War, I am reviewing all previous MCU movies. This time, I am reviewing Guardians of the Galaxy. So, without any further ado, let's get right into it. This movie was released in 2014, a few months after Captain America the Winter Soldier. A lot of people said that Marvel Studios was back on track after the amazing movie Captain America the Winter Soldier. Yet, a lot of people were skeptical about this movie, and rightfully so. This was Marvel's first movie based on characters that were not very well known. Moreover, they were not well known to the general public, but even hardcore comic book nerds knew very little about the Guardians of the Galaxy. That is how obscure they were. Marvel was taking on a huge risk with this movie. But you can also look at it this way. The previous movies, especially the Avengers, were very profitable. So their profits, in a way, funded this movie. If Guardians of the Galaxy hadn't done well at the box office, Marvel wouldn't mind that so much. Because of the success of their previous movies, they were able to take a huge gamble and still be fine. Fortunately for Marvel, that gamble paid off big time. The movie is directed by James Gunn, a director whose work I really like. Before Guardians of the Galaxy, he directed Slither, a horror movie with comedic elements that actually works. Mostly it's just a bad comedy or a bad horror movie, but James Gunn made it work. And he directed a movie called Super, a darker kind of kick-ass, with which I also really enjoyed. But both the movies he directed before Guardians of the Galaxy were kind of a teeny bit weird, to say the least. And James Gunn definitely took that weirdness with him in this movie. He and Marvel Studios realized that Guardians of the Galaxy is a weird and obscure kind of comic. So the movie should embrace that part and have a lot of fun doing so. The result was absolutely amazing. And so was the casting. This movie stars the super charismatic actor Chris Pratt as Peter Quill, or as his character prefers to be called, Star-Lord. Then we have Zoe Saldana as Gamora, Dave Bautista as Drax the Destroyer, Bradley Cooper as Rocket Raccoon, and the one and only Vin Diesel as Groot, a walking tree that is only able to say, "I am Groot." Having an actor as Vin Diesel play such a character is not a waste at all. Sarcasm. A wonderful cast, and all of the characters get their time to shine during the movie, and all of them resonated with me very well. So yeah, let's talk about the good. Let's start with one change that James Gunn made to the source material, and that is giving the character of Star-Lord an 80s Walkman and having him play 70s, 80s songs throughout the movie. And a movie that looks super futuristic. And what makes the soundtrack, and it really makes the soundtrack come to life and kind of becomes a character in itself. I think it is awesome. It also gives the audience something to relate to in a movie that is filled with weirdness. Awesome Mix Volume 1, that's how the soundtrack is called, is one of the best things about this movie. And it definitely wouldn't have worked as well without the Awesome Mix Volume 1. In fact, I remember walking out of the movie theater and thinking, the movie was really good, but not that super awesome. Everybody claims it to be. giving it some time, my opinion has slightly changed about this movie, and I really think that it is an awesome movie almost all around. And the more I rewatch this movie, the more I think that. Now, let's talk about the bad stuff. 3 things that I still don't like and actually very much dislike in this movie, and I dislike it even more after every rewatch. First of all, Ronan the Accuser, and also the character of Nebula. The villain is pure shit in this movie. He was so serious all of the time in a very comedic movie. This was probably done as a way to make fun of him, but it doesn't add up to some of the scenes he has with the Guardians, especially the ending, where the Guardians are all dance and he's all destroy. But the dancing wins over destroying with no real logical reason, in my opinion. And I think Nebula is a bit underdeveloped in this movie. Once again, played a bit too seriously for what's good for her. But I think James Gunn and Marvel Studios fixed the villain problem in the sequel. Secondly, the Collector, played by Benicio del Toro. All of the scenes he is in are absolutely clumsily done, in my opinion, and he does nothing for the movie unless doing some exposition. But that's all he does, spouting out exposition. That's it. This has also been somewhat fixed in the sequel, because he's not in it. And lastly, the post-credit scene. It's just one at the very end, and it's like Iron Man 3, played for laughs and completely unnecessary. And I even think that the post-credit scene in this movie isn't just funny to begin with. While Iron Man 3, I still got the appeal, and yet, admittedly, this is another one of the issues I had with this movie that has been fixed in the sequel, the post-credit scene, that is. Because the sequel made it one of its strengths, the post-credit scenes in that movie. Alright, to end this review, let's give it a rating. My ratings, ranked from worst to best, are as follows. Shit, bad, meh, good, and awesome. And I give Guardians of the Galaxy an awesome. It's a great movie. But if you had asked me to rate it just after I saw it for the first time, I probably would have given it a good instead of an awesome. I liked this movie a lot from the moment I first saw it, but since then, this movie really just grew on me. See you guys next time, where I will be reviewing Avengers: Age of Ultron.